Imagine a sculptor standing before a raw, unshaped block of marble. With each careful strike of the chisel, a shape begins to emerge, sometimes rough, sometimes smooth, but always slowly transforming from chaos into something recognizable, something beautiful. Now consider this. The sculptor is your mind, and the marble is your life. Every thought you entertain, every mental image you hold, is a strike of that chisel shaping reality around you. We rarely realize it, but the truth is simple and profound. You become what you think. Your mind is not just a passive observer, it is the architect of your existence. What you believe, imagine, or dwell upon quietly lays a foundation for your future, often long before you take action in the physical world. The story of two minds. Let me tell you a story. Two men were born in the same city, under similar circumstances. Both faced challenges, lack of resources, daily struggles, and moments of doubt. But their minds were different. One constantly whispered, "I will never succeed. I am not capable. This is too hard." The other whispered, "I can learn. I can grow. I will overcome." Years later, the first man lived a life of quiet frustration, full of missed opportunities and what ifs. The second man, though he stumbled as well, created businesses, relationships, and achievements that seemed almost impossible to outsiders. The difference was invisible. The first man's mind had sculpted limitations. The second man's mind had sculpted possibilities. Thoughts as seeds. Think of your thoughts like seeds in a garden. If you plant weeds, your garden will be overrun. If you plant flowers, eventually beauty blooms. And the most remarkable part? You often plant these seeds without realizing it. Repeated doubts, repeated complaints, repeated fears. They all grow into reality. Napoleon Hill, in his timeless book Think and Grow Rich, wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." This is not just motivation. It is a principle of mental causation. The mind works like gravity, invisible, silent, but relentlessly shaping everything around it. The hidden influence of subtle thoughts. Not all thoughts are loud or dramatic. Many are subtle. The tiny ideas you hold about yourself, your worth, your capability, your potential, quietly governs the choices you make every day. Imagine a tiny crack in a dam. At first, it seems insignificant, but over time, water seeps through, eroding the foundation until the dam fails. Similarly, a subtle, negative thought allowed to persist can erode your confidence, your decisions, and eventually your life path. Conversely, nurturing small positive thoughts, "I can learn this," "I am capable of growth," "I am resilient," can create a powerful foundation for achievement. The science behind thought and reality. Modern neuroscience shows us that the brain is extraordinarily plastic. Neurons that fire together, wire together. This means your repeated thoughts literally shape the physical architecture of your brain. When you focus on fear, limitation, or failure, neural pathways reinforcing those patterns strengthen. When you focus on growth, resilience, and potential, your brain rewires to support those mental patterns. In essence, your thoughts are not ephemeral. They are tangible tools, shaping your brain, your behavior, and ultimately your destiny. The choice you make every day. Every day, you face hundreds of mental choices. Will I believe I am enough, or will I doubt myself? Will I visualize success or dwell on failure? Will I focus on what I can control or obsess over what I cannot? Each thought is a strike of the sculptor's chisel. The accumulation of these strikes, small, seemingly insignificant, determines whether the sculpture of your life becomes a masterpiece or remains a rough, unshaped block. Your mind is waiting for guidance. Your life is waiting for form. And the chisel is in your hands. The journey ahead. In the chapters that follow, we will explore how your thoughts silently construct the architecture of your life, how to identify and dismantle negative mental patterns, how to plant empowering thoughts that grow into action, techniques and rituals to train your mind for mastery, how to live as a conscious sculptor of your inner world, transforming thought into reality. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand the power of thought. You'll learn how to command it, shape it, and let it shape you into the person you aspire to become. Remember this: the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Every belief you hold, every image you dwell on, Every self-conversation you entertain is sculpting your destiny. So take a deep breath, settle into your mind, and let's begin the transformation. Your journey to mastering your thoughts and your life starts now. Chapter 1: The Invisible Architecture of Thought. Our minds are like cities. Some are sprawling metropolises of creativity, organization, and energy. Others are crumbling towns where neglect and chaos have taken hold. And like any city, there's a hidden architecture, roads, bridges, and foundations that are invisible to the casual observer, but critical to everything that functions above. Thoughts are the infrastructure of your mental city. They may appear fleeting and intangible, but they govern the flow of ideas, the direction of choices, and the strength of your mental resilience. A single thought can build a bridge to a new opportunity or create a roadblock that traps you in indecision. 1. Understanding the blueprint of your mind. Before you can master your mind, you need to understand its blueprint. Imagine your thoughts as architectural plans. Every belief you hold, every idea you entertain, and every mental habit you repeat is like laying bricks in a building. Over time, these bricks accumulate into structures, towers of confidence, bridges of insight, or walls of limitation. Constructive thoughts act like reinforced steel and marble. They support growth, creativity, and achievement. Destructive thought are like crumbling mortar. They weaken foundations, distort perception, and invite failure. Every repeated thought reinforces a neural pathway in your brain, making it easier for similar thoughts to follow. This is why your mind often feels like a familiar neighborhood. You've walked these mental streets countless times, whether they lead to prosperity or stagnation. 2. The silent power of self-talk. Have you ever noticed the inner voice that narrates your day? That quiet commentary, sometimes encouraging, sometimes critical, is the most influential architect of your mind. Consider this. Two people face the same setback. One thinks, I will never recover from this, I'm a failure. The other thinks, this is a challenge I can learn from, and I will grow stronger. The event is identical, but the consequences are entirely different. Self-talk is like the traffic control in your mental city. It directs the flow of energy, focus, and emotion. Research shows that habitual negative self-talk can lower your confidence, increase stress, and even affect physical health. Conversely, cultivating constructive inner dialogue rewires your mind toward resilience, clarity, and action. 3. Mental loops, the invisible roads of thought. Thoughts rarely appear in isolation. They form loops, cycles that reinforce themselves, sometimes without your awareness. These mental loops can be empowering, like habits of gratitude and reflection, or destructive, like cycles of worry and self-doubt. Positive loops multiply success. Thinking, I can do this, encourages action, which leads to results, which reinforces belief. Negative loops multiply failure. Thinking, I'll never succeed, discourages effort, leading to inaction, which reinforces hopelessness. The key to mastering your mind is recognizing these loops and consciously redesigning them. Just as city planners redirect traffic to prevent congestion, you can redirect thought patterns to improve mental flow and productivity. 4. The architecture of belief. Beliefs are the pillars of your mental structures. Unlike fleeting thoughts, beliefs are deeply entrenched, often formed in childhood or through repeated experiences. They shape how you interpret the world and how you interact with it. Belief in your own potential acts as a bridge, connecting effort to achievement. Belief in limitation acts as a wall, blocking progress before it even begins. To master your mind, you must identify which beliefs serve you and which constrain you. Question them, challenge them, and replace limiting beliefs with empowering alternatives. For example, replace I am not good enough with I am capable of learning and growing every day. Replace I always fail with every setback is a lesson guiding me forward. These shifts may feel subtle at first, but over time they reshape the city of your mind into a landscape of possibility. 5. Thought as energy. Think of every thought as energy. Some thoughts energize, inspire, and mobilize action. Others drain, distract, and paralyze. Like electricity flowing through wires, the energy of your thoughts powers everything you do. Empowering thoughts illuminate paths forward, fuel focus, and generate momentum. Disempowering thoughts short-circuit decisions, foster anxiety, and deplete willpower. This is why mental discipline, choosing which thoughts to nurture, is as important as any physical discipline. You can train your mind to favor energizing, constructive thoughts until they become automatic, powering your life like a well-oiled engine. 6. The subtle influence of daily mental diet. Just as you fuel your body with food, you fuel your mind with input. The books you read, the conversations you engage in, the media you consume. Each of these contributes bricks to your mental architecture. A diet rich in positivity, growth-oriented ideas, and inspiring narratives builds strong, resilient structures. A diet of negativity, complaints, and distractions builds weak, unstable structures prone to collapse. Be selective about what you allow into your mental city. Guard the gates. Feed it wisely. Over time, the quality of your thoughts becomes the quality of your life. 7. Visualization. Designing your mental city. Visualization is the blueprint stage of thought mastery. Before a skyscraper is built, architects draw detailed plans. Likewise, before achieving any goal, your mind must first conceive it clearly. Picture your ideal day, your ideal self, your ideal outcome. Immerse yourself in the feelings, sights, and sounds of success. Let your brain internalize this blueprint, so when action begins, your neural pathways are already prepared. This is not mere daydreaming. It's mental architecture in motion. The mind treats vividly imagined experiences almost like reality, strengthening neural pathways and priming action. 8. The feedback loop between thought and reality. Here's the remarkable truth. Your thoughts influence your actions shape your environment, and your environment, in turn, reinforces your thoughts. A positive feedback loop creates growth, confidence, and achievement. A negative feedback loop breeds stagnation, doubt, and frustration. Understanding this loop is critical. By controlling the thoughts you allow, you begin to steer your life's feedback loops, ensuring that reality bends in the direction of your intentional mental design. Your mind is the ultimate architect, and your thoughts are its building materials. Invisible though they may seem, they form the streets, bridges, towers, and walls of your life. The more you understand this architecture, the more power you have to redesign it. By observing, questioning, and consciously directing your thoughts, you begin to move from being a passive inhabitant of your mental city to being its master planner. Every thought you nurture, every belief you reinforce, is a step toward mastering your inner world and, ultimately, your destiny. Chapter 2. Breaking the Chains of Negative Narratives. Every mind carries a story, a narrative that constantly runs in the background, shaping your emotions, decisions, and ultimately your life. For many, these narratives are self-limiting, repetitive loops of doubt, fear, and negative assumptions. They are invisible chains, quietly restraining potential and keeping greatness out of reach. The first step in mastering your mind is recognizing these chains. They are subtle yet powerful. A phrase whispered in your own head, "I can't do this," or "I'm not enough," can dictate the outcome of your day, your choices, and your life. 1. The origin of negative narratives. Negative narratives are rarely born fully formed. They accumulate over time, built from experiences, societal conditioning, and repeated self-judgment. Childhood experiences can plant seeds of doubt, criticism, comparison, or unmet expectations. Society can reinforce them. Media, culture, and peer pressure teach you what is possible or impossible. Personal failures, left unprocessed, can become repeating stories. I always fail. I never succeed. Even the smallest repeated thought can grow into a towering mental block if left unchecked. Think of it like a vine slowly climbing a wall. Left alone, it covers the structure, changing its shape and limiting its function. 2. Recognizing the chains. Awareness is the first tool of liberation. You cannot break what you cannot see. Pay attention to recurring patterns of thought. Do you habitually assume failure before trying? Do you constantly criticize yourself for perceived mistakes? Do you interpret challenges as insurmountable obstacles rather than opportunities? Journaling can help reveal these patterns. Write down your recurring thoughts, especially those that trigger fear, hesitation, or anxiety. Seeing them on paper can illuminate the chains you have carried for years. 3. The power of questioning beliefs. Once identified, challenge your negative narratives. Every limiting thought is a hypothesis, not a fact. Ask, is this really true? What evidence do I have to support or disprove this thought? What would I tell a friend if they thought this about themselves? This process transforms your mind from a passive believer of old scripts into an active investigator. It is no longer at the mercy of unexamined assumptions. It begins to discern truth from fiction. 4. Rewriting your inner story. Breaking chains is only the beginning. To truly master your mind, you must replace old narratives with empowering ones. Convert "I can't do this" into "I am capable of learning and improving every day." Replace "I always fail" with "every experience teaches me and brings me closer to mastery." Shift "I am not enough" into "I am growing, evolving, and constantly becoming better." Your mind responds to repetition. The more you consciously repeat these new narratives, the stronger they become. Soon, your old chains begin to crumble, replaced by bridges of possibility. 5. The role of emotion in narrative change. Thoughts are powerful, but emotion is their amplifier. Negative narratives are often tied to fear, shame, or regret. To break them, you must feel the truth of your new narrative. Visualization, affirmation, and emotional rehearsal are key. Close your eyes and imagine successfully completing a task you feared. Feel the pride and relief. Speak empowering statements aloud. Allow an emotion to anchor the thought in your mind. Surround yourself with reminders, quotes, images, or symbols that reinforce your new narrative. The combination of cognitive understanding and emotional resonance rewires your mind faster than intellect alone. 6. Avoiding the trap of subtle negativity. Even after rewriting your core narratives, subtle negativity can creep back. Complaints, comparisons, and idle mental chatter often reintroduce old chains. Strategies to avoid this trap. Limit exposure to negative media or toxic individuals. Replace idle worry with purposeful thought. Focus on solutions rather than problems. Regularly audit your mental dialogue to catch old patterns before they strengthen. Consistency in this practice ensures the chains never fully reform. 7. Small wins, big breakthroughs. Breaking narratives is not an overnight process. It is incremental. Each small victory, choosing courage over fear, action over hesitation, optimism over doubt, chips away at the old story. Consider the power of compounding. A single choice to act differently today may seem small, but repeated over weeks and months, it rewires your identity. Your mind begins to accept the new narrative as truth, and your life starts to reflect it. 8. Stories of mental liberation. History and contemporary life are full of examples. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, but his narrative was, "I have not failed. I've found 10,000 ways that won't work." Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty and faced countless obstacles, yet she chose a narrative of possibility and purpose. Her thoughts sculpted a reality of influence and empowerment. These examples are not outliers. They illustrate what is possible when negative narratives are identified, questioned, and rewritten with intention. 9. Daily practices to break chains. Morning reflection. Identify any self-limiting thoughts before the day begins. Affirmation rituals. Speak empowering statements aloud to reinforce new narratives. Journaling. Track triggers, progress, and breakthroughs in thought patterns. Visualization. Imagine yourself embodying your desired reality in vivid detail. These rituals become mental scaffolding, supporting the dismantling of old chains and construction of new, empowering thought pathways. Breaking negative narratives is like renovating an old, collapsing building. It requires patience, attention, and careful effort, but the results are profound. Once the old chains crumble, your mind becomes a playground of possibilities, not a prison of limitations. Your thoughts no longer control you. You control your thoughts. Every narrative you choose to believe becomes a building block for the life you desire. Chapter 3. Planting seeds of a new mental garden. Imagine stepping into a garden at dawn. The soil is soft, rich, and ready for new life. Some patches are overrun with weeds, remnants of neglect, while others are fertile and waiting for seeds. Your mind is much the same. Every thought, every belief, every mental habit is a seed planted in this inner landscape. The choices you make today determine what blossoms tomorrow. If negative thoughts are weeds, unchallenged and left to grow, they can strangle creativity, hope, and progress. If positive, intentional thoughts are planted, nurtured, and repeated, they grow into trees of strength, streams of inspiration, and fields of opportunity. The key is intentional cultivation. Just as a gardener carefully chooses what to plant, waters it, and removes what doesn't serve growth, you must actively curate your mental garden. 1. Identifying fertile ground. Before planting seeds, identify where the soil is fertile. Which areas of your mind are open to growth? Where do you feel energy, curiosity, or readiness to change? Focus on moments of optimism or curiosity. They're the fertile ground for planting empowering thoughts. Areas of resistance or fear may seem difficult, but they often hide the richest soil for transformation. By understanding where your mental garden is most receptive, you ensure that the seeds you plant have the best chance to flourish. 2. Selecting the right seeds. Not all seeds produce the same harvest. Some thoughts may inspire confidence, creativity, and resilience. Others may grow into delusions, overconfidence, or distraction. When planting a mental seed, ask, does this thought empower me to act? Does it encourage growth rather than comfort? Will it serve me even when challenges arise? Examples of seeds to plant. I am capable of learning and improving each day. Challenges are opportunities to grow. Every setback teaches me something valuable. Choose thoughts that build strength, clarity, and resilience. Over time, these seeds become habits, shaping your behavior and life. 3. Nurturing your seeds with repetition. Seeds do not sprout overnight. They require consistent care, sunlight, water, and attention. Similarly, empowering thoughts need repetition to grow strong neural pathways in your brain. Daily affirmations. Speak positive statements aloud each morning. Visualization. Imagine yourself embodying your goals and intentions vividly. Reflection. Review your day and reinforce moments when your new thoughts guided positive action. Repetition transforms thoughts into mental structures, creating a resilient foundation for growth. The more attention you give to your mental garden, the faster and stronger your inner landscape flourishes. For removing weeds, clearing limiting beliefs. Weeds in a garden compete for resources. In your mind, negative thoughts, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs function in the same way. They drain energy from the seeds you wish to grow. Identify recurring doubts or fears and challenge them immediately. Replace I can't with I am learning. Replace I always fail with each step teaches me something new. Weeding your mental garden may be uncomfortable at first. Some beliefs are deeply rooted, but with consistent effort, you make room for empowering thoughts to take root. 5. Watering in sunlight. Creating the right environment. Seeds need favorable conditions. Your mind is no different. Surround yourself with influences that nurture growth. Books and knowledge. Read materials that inspire and challenge you. Positive company. Spend time with people who reinforce optimism, curiosity, and action. Healthy routines. Sleep, exercise, and nutrition all support mental clarity and resilience. By intentionally creating an environment conducive to growth, your seeds have the best chance of thriving and bearing fruit. 6. The role of emotion in growth. Thoughts alone are like seeds without water. Emotion is the nutrient that brings them to life. When you attach feeling to a positive thought, joy, excitement, determination, you accelerate growth. Celebrate small wins to reinforce belief in your capabilities. Visualize success with intensity, feeling the pride, relief, and satisfaction. Anchor positive emotions to empowering statements so your mind learns to associate thought with energy and action. Emotionally charged thoughts imprint more deeply on the brain, making your mental garden vibrant and resilient. 7. Patience and timing. Gardens do not bloom overnight, and neither does a mind. Impatience can lead to frustration or abandoning your efforts. Understand that transformation is gradual, often invisible in the early stages. Trust the process, knowing that consistent nurturing produces compound growth. Keep a long-term perspective. Each thought, each reflection, each small victory contributes to the overall harvest. 8. Stories of mental gardening. Consider the life of J.K. Rowling. rejected by multiple publishers, struggling with personal hardship, she continued to nurture the vision of Harry Potter. Each act of belief, each written page, each morning of effort was a seed planted in her mental garden. Eventually, it grew into a literary empire. Or think of a simple everyday example. A person decides to adopt the thought, I can be kind and patient today. Over weeks, months, and years, these small seeds blossom into habitual empathy and influence, transforming relationships and opportunities. The principle is universal. Intentional thoughts, consistently nurtured, yield extraordinary outcomes. 9. Daily mental gardening practices. Morning planting. Begin each day with one empowering thought or intention. Midday check-in. Pause and observe your mental garden. Weed out negativity and reinforce positive patterns. Evening reflection. Note growth, progress, and areas needing more attention. These practices maintain a healthy mental ecosystem, ensuring your thoughts work for you rather than against you. Planting seeds in your mind is an act of creation. Every idea you choose to nurture, every belief you reinforce, is a contribution to the landscape of your life. Neglect leads to weeds. Intention leads to flourishing. By identifying fertile ground, choosing the right seeds, nurturing them with repetition and emotion, and removing limiting beliefs, you create a mental garden capable of producing abundance, creativity, and resilience. Chapter 4. Training the mind for mastery. Once seeds are planted in your mental garden, the next step is training them to flourish consistently. Just as a gardener prunes, waters, and protects their plants, you must discipline your mind to channel thoughts, focus energy, and act with precision. Mastery is not about occasional inspiration. It is about consistent control, deliberate practice, and unwavering focus. 1. Understanding mental mastery. Mental mastery is the ability to consciously direct your thoughts and emotions toward constructive outcomes. It is the skill of choosing how you respond to life instead of reacting automatically. A mind trained for mastery can focus deeply on meaningful tasks, resist distractions and mental clutter, transform setbacks into lessons, sustain positive habits without external motivation. Without training, your mind behaves like an untrained animal, reactive, inconsistent, and easily swayed by impulse. Mastery turns that energy into a reliable tool for growth and achievement. 2. The principle of repetition. Mastery is born from repetition. Neural pathways in the brain strengthen with practice. Every thought, action, and habit repeated creates a groove in the mind. Practice focus daily, even for short periods. Repeat empowering thoughts to reinforce neural patterns. Rehearse visualizations of success until they become instinctual. Small, deliberate repetitions compound over time, transforming ordinary effort into extraordinary capability. 3. The role of discipline. Discipline is a framework that supports mastery. It is not about restriction. It is about freedom. The freedom to act deliberately, think clearly, and pursue long-term goals over short-term impulses. Techniques to cultivate discipline include time blocking. Allocate focus periods for important mental tasks. Elimination of distractions. Remove anything that hijacks your attention. Commitment rituals. Daily actions that reinforce consistency and focus. Discipline is the scaffolding that allows your mental seeds to grow into towering achievements. 4. Mindfulness and awareness. Training the mind requires awareness of the present moment. Mindfulness allows you to observe thoughts without judgment, notice recurring patterns, and intervene consciously. Pause before reacting to strong emotions. Observe habitual thought patterns and redirect them. Meditate regularly to strengthen attention and clarity. By increasing awareness, you gain the ability to choose which thoughts to nurture and which to prune, enhancing mental efficiency and emotional resilience. 5. Mental conditioning techniques. Just as athletes condition their bodies, the mind requires structured training. Visualization. Daily mental rehearsal of desired outcomes strengthens belief and prepares the brain for action. Affirmations. Repeating empowering statements embeds new thought patterns. Mental contrasting. Imagine obstacles along with your goal to anticipate challenges and prepare solutions. Emotional anchoring. Pair positive thoughts with strong emotions to create lasting neural associations. These practices condition the mind to respond consistently, like a well-trained instrument producing desired note every time. 6. Building resilience through challenges. Mental mastery is tested in adversity. Challenges reveal the strength of your training. Like a metal forged in fire, the mind becomes resilient when tempered by difficulties. View setbacks as exercises, not punishments. Ask, what can I learn from this, rather than dwelling on failure. Practice emotional regulation. Observe the discomfort without letting it dictate behavior. Over time, your mind learns that challenges are opportunities to flex strength rather than threats that trigger fear. 7. Focus as a superpower. Focus is the core of mental mastery. The ability to direct attention deliberately is like concentrating sunlight through a lens. It can illuminate or ignite. Limit multitasking, which scatters mental energy. Prioritize high-impact actions and thoughts. Train the mind to sustain attention, even amid distractions. A focused mind multiplies the power of every thought, ensuring the seeds you plant bear fruit faster and stronger. 8. The feedback loop of mastery. Mastery is reinforced by a continuous feedback loop. Action leads to results. Reflection identifies strengths and areas to improve. Adjustment refines your approach. Consistency compounds progress. By consciously engaging with this loop, your mind grows sharper, more adaptable, and increasingly capable of achieving long-term goals. 9. Habits as mental muscle. Habits are the muscles of the mind. They make actions automatic, reducing the need for constant willpower. By training the mind to consistently engage in empowering thoughts and behaviors, you create mental muscle memory. Morning routines that include reflection, visualization, or journaling. Evening reviews to reinforce learning and identify improvements. Micro habits. Tiny, consistent actions that gradually shape larger behaviors. These habits form the backbone of mental mastery, allowing your mind to function at peak efficiency even under stress. 10. Stories of mastery in action. Consider legendary athletes, artists, and leaders. Michael Jordan missed thousands of shots, yet his mental discipline and visualization transformed failure into triumph. Leonardo da Vinci devoted years to studying and refining his craft, driven by relentless focus and curiosity. Even ordinary people can achieve extraordinary outcomes by applying these principles consistently. A student mastering a subject, a professional climbing the ranks, or a creator producing daily work all embody mental mastery through disciplined thought and action. 11. Daily practices to train the mind. Morning visualization. Start the day imagining the outcomes you want to achieve. Focus work blocks. Schedule uninterrupted periods for high-value mental tasks. Reflection journals. Track thought patterns, emotions, and progress. Mindful pauses. Regularly observe thoughts and redirect them intentionally. Affirmations and emotional anchoring. Pair empowering statements with feelings to strengthen impact. These practices reinforce the architecture of the mind and ensure your mental garden grows into a thriving, productive landscape. Training the mind for mastery is both an art and a science. It requires patience, discipline, and consistent effort. By cultivating focus, emotional awareness, resilience, and deliberate habits, your mental seeds blossom into powerful, constructive outcomes. A mind trained for mastery is not easily swayed by fear, distraction, or failure. It acts with precision, responds with wisdom, and creates reality in alignment with your deepest intentions. Chapter 5. Living as the master of your inner kingdom. Imagine standing on the balcony of a grand palace, looking over a vast, flourishing kingdom. Every structure, every path, every garden reflects careful planning and attention. Now, imagine that this kingdom exists not outside you, but within your own mind. When you master your thoughts, emotions, and habits, you live as a sovereign of this inner realm, shaping reality with precision and purpose. Living as a master of your inner kingdom is a culmination of everything we have explored, identifying and shaping thought patterns, breaking negative narratives, planting empowering mental seeds, and training your mind for mastery. It is about intentional sovereignty over your inner world, so that your outer life follows in alignment. 1. Sovereignty begins with awareness. Every kingdom requires knowledge of its borders and terrain. Similarly, mental mastery begins with awareness of your own thoughts, emotions, and impulses. Observe your reactions before you act. Identify recurring thoughts that either empower or drain you. Understand triggers that disrupt focus or peace. Awareness is a seat of power. Once you see clearly, you can act deliberately instead of being swept by unconscious patterns. 2. The laws of your inner kingdom. Just as every kingdom operates under certain laws, your inner kingdom is governed by mental principles. Law of attention, where your focus goes, energy flows, directed toward growth, learning, and creation. Law of repetition. Habits solidify mental structures. Consistent thought leads to lasting change. Law of emotional authority. Emotions amplify thoughts. Manage them to strengthen your mental influence. Law of adaptation. Challenges are inevitable. Adapt without losing composure or clarity. By understanding and honoring these laws, you build a strong, resilient, and thriving inner kingdom. 3. Guarding the gates. A wise ruler protects a kingdom from external and internal threats. In mental terms, this means filtering what you allow into your mind. Limit exposure to negative media or toxic individuals. Choose environments that inspire, educate, and uplift. Guard against unnecessary worry or unproductive mental chatter. By controlling input, you ensure that the seeds you plant have fertile soil and that distractions cannot erode your mental foundations. 4. Cultivating your advisors, mentors, and guides. No king or queen rules alone. Your inner kingdom thrives when you have advisors, mentors, teachers, and guides who provide wisdom and perspective. Seek inspiration from books, podcasts, and thought leaders. Surround yourself with individuals who challenge you to grow. Reflect on lessons from failures and successes to refine your inner counsel. These advisors help shape your decisions, reinforcing mental clarity and empowering action. 5. Building castles of confidence. Confidence is a castle in your inner kingdom, a fortress that protects and empowers. It is built brick by brick, thought by thought, through repeated success, mastery, and self-belief. Celebrate small victories to reinforce capability. Visualize outcomes before taking action to strengthen belief. Anchor confidence to tangible habits and accomplishments. A well-fortified mind allows you to navigate challenges with calm and decisiveness. 6. Harnessing the power of focused action. Powerful kingdoms are built not on intentions alone, but on deliberate action. In your inner kingdom, convert thought into action consistently. Prioritize high-impact activities that align with your vision. Avoid distractions and trivial pursuits that drain energy. Focused action is the engine that turns mental mastery into tangible results in the world outside. 7. Resilience in the face of invasion. Even the strongest kingdoms face threats, storms, invasions, or internal unrest. Similarly, your mind will encounter setbacks, stress, and negative influences. Treat challenges as opportunities to exercise resilience. Maintain emotional composure to avoid unnecessary mental disruption. Use difficulties to refine strategies and strengthen mental structures. A resilient mind can absorb shocks without losing stability, just as a strong castle withstands storms. 8. The role of gratitude and reflection. A wise ruler also celebrates a kingdom. Gratitude and reflection strengthen mental stability and amplify growth. Reflect daily on progress, achievements, and lessons learned. Practice gratitude for knowledge, opportunities, and personal growth. Recognize the beauty and potential within your inner landscape. This fosters a sense of abundance, shifting the mind from scarcity and fear toward empowerment and creativity. 9. Stories of inner kingdom mastery. Consider Nelson Mandela. Decades of imprisonment could have destroyed hope, yet his inner kingdom, his mind, remained sovereign. His thoughts of freedom, reconciliation, and justice eventually shaped a nation. Or think of ordinary people. A parent choosing patience over anger, a student persisting despite setbacks, or an entrepreneur maintaining focus amidst uncertainty. These examples illustrate that inner kingdom mastery is not reserved for the extraordinary. It is accessible to anyone willing to cultivate, protect, and guide their mind. 10. Daily practices for sovereignty. Morning sovereignty ritual. Begin the day with clear intentions and empowering thoughts. Focus work blocks. Dedicate time to tasks aligned with your highest goals. Evening reflection. Review decisions, emotional responses, and growth opportunities. Mindful pauses. Intervene in automatic reactions to ensure deliberate empowered responses. Affirmations and visualization reinforce the identity of a sovereign mind consistently. These routines maintain the kingdom, ensuring your mental garden thrives and your thoughts are always under conscious direction. Living as a master of your inner kingdom is the ultimate expression of the principle. You become what you think. When you consciously direct your thoughts, nurture empowering beliefs, train your mind for mastery, and protect your mental landscape, you become the architect of your life. Your thoughts, actions, and habits align to create a life of intention, resilience, and fulfillment. You no longer react to circumstances. You create them. You are the sovereign of your inner world, and through your mind, you sculpt reality itself. As we reach the end of this journey through the landscapes of your mind, pause for a moment and reflect. Every chapter we explored, from uncovering the architecture of your thoughts, breaking negative narratives, planting empowering seeds, training your mind for mastery, to living as a sovereign of your inner kingdom, has one unifying message. Your thoughts shape your reality. The mind is not a passive observer. It is an active force, sculpting your experiences, directing your choices, and influencing the outcomes of your life. Like a master artist standing before a blank canvas, every thought you cultivate paints the picture of your destiny. 1. The power of conscious choice. Every moment offers a choice: to dwell in old patterns or to consciously direct your mind toward growth and possibility. Awareness is the key. By observing your thoughts, questioning their validity, and choosing empowering alternatives, you take control of your mental kingdom. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer and director of them. Every empowered decision reinforces the structure of your inner kingdom. The freedom to choose how you think and act is the foundation of personal mastery. Even a single moment of intentional thought can redirect the course of your day, your habits, and your life. 2. Consistency is the bridge to transformation. Mastery is not achieved through occasional brilliance, but through consistent effort. Every practice, every visualization, every empowering thought compounds over time. Small, deliberate actions, repeated daily, reshape your mental landscape. Consistency transforms potential into reality. Just as drops of water carve canyons over centuries, repeated, intentional thought and action carve pathways to success, resilience, and fulfillment. 3. Embracing challenges as catalysts. Your inner kingdom will be tested. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are not signs of weakness. They are catalysts for growth. A trained, disciplined mind uses obstacles as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. View adversity as a teacher, not an enemy. Respond with reflection, strategy, and composure. Use every difficulty to strengthen your mental structures and refine your approach. In doing so, your mind becomes unshakable, resilient, and capable of navigating any storm. 4. The ongoing journey of mastery. Mastering your mind is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey. The mental seeds you plant today will continue to grow, evolve, and bear fruit in unexpected ways. The gardens of thought you cultivate must be tended continuously. Weed out negativity before it takes root. Nurture empowering beliefs through reflection and affirmation. Protect your inner kingdom from distractions and harmful influences. As you commit to this ongoing journey, your life becomes a reflection of intentional thought, disciplined action, and unwavering focus. 5. The legacy of your thoughts. Consider the lasting impact of the mind fully mastered. Your thoughts influence your actions shape your environment, and your environment touches the lives of others. A single empowered mind can inspire change, create opportunities, and leave a legacy of wisdom, courage, and achievement. Positive thoughts ripple outward, impacting family, friends, and communities. Resilient, intentional thinking models a life of mastery for others. Every day, you contribute to the legacy you leave behind through what you think, what you choose, and how you act. 6. Final words of empowerment. As you step forward from this journey, remember, you become what you think. Your mind is not merely a container for ideas. It is the forge where your destiny is created. Every belief, every thought, every decision is a hammer strike shaping your life. Choose your thoughts wisely. Plant seeds of growth, resilience, and empowerment. Train your mind for mastery. Protect your inner kingdom. Respond to life with intentionality, courage, and focus. Your thoughts are the architects, your choices are the builders, and your actions are the bricks of the life you are destined to live. Take a deep breath. Visualize your mind as a thriving kingdom. Every thought, belief, and habit aligned with purpose and possibility. Recognize the power you hold. The journey of mastery does not end here. It begins anew each day, with every conscious choice you make. You are the master of your inner kingdom. You are the architect of your destiny. You are what you think. And by shaping your mind, you shape the life you have always imagined. Step forward with clarity, courage, and determination. Your mind, your kingdom, your destiny. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the power of your mind. If you found this story inspiring and want to continue exploring life-changing insights, habits, and stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Join the Storyteller family, where every story empowers your mind, every lesson fuels your growth, and every video helps you become the best version of yourself. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and step into your journey of mastery.